a former judge and prosecutor, journalist, author of the Patriot Acts, What America Must Do to Save the Republic, and Margie Omero, Democratic strategist. Thank you, first of all, thank you both for being here tonight.
Thanks so much.
Catherine, let me start with you. Paul Ryan's socially conservative positions are the base's bread and butter. But is he a risky pick?
I think so. I think that a lot of the working class Republicans, when they really pay attention to the Ryan budget plan, are going to be very, very nervous because of the impact on that group. So that's a lot of your social conservatives. When you talk about the social issues, there are a lot of economic conservatives in the Republican Party who don't pay a lot of attention. Those people, swing voters, who all of a sudden their antenna is going to go up, and they will be very, very uncomfortable with what some would deem relatively radical positions.
Now, Margie, when you look at the fact that a new Washington Post poll shows President Obama holds a 22-point lead over Romney among women voters, and then you have the positions of his running mate now, extreme on a lot of women's issues. The politics of this, I just don't get.
Well, I think this is clearly a base pick. I mean, Romney picked Ryan to solidify his base. You could tell looking at the ads they're running. They have the disgraceful ad that just makes up a whole story about Obama's record on welfare and the work requirement. They had another ad accusing Obama of waging a war on religion, which is really trying to appeal to Catholics. And so they're really trying to solidify their base. Because if they didn't have that, then they would have difficulty, doing anything. But Ryan's positions are so extreme. I'm really glad we're talking about the full range of his positions on women's health, on food to hungry kids, on college affordability, on domestic violence. I mean, it just really runs the gamut. I mean, these are really extreme, single-digit kind of support positions.
Now, Catherine, when she says, let's talk about all of the issues, I mean, it's almost like if you look at Ryan's record, it's a wish list for the extreme right wing of the GOP. Immigration, he voted against the DREAM Act. Gay rights, supports same-sex marriage, voted to ban gay adoptions in Washington. Gun control, gets an A rating from the National Rifle Association. Abortion rights, he received a 100% rating from the National Right to Life Committee. On and on and on. But isn't this the kind of stuff that will get his base fired up? Yep. She said, and I agree with Margie, it's a base pick. But isn't it going to turn off moderates and independents in many ways?
Well, think about the personhood. Remember when the personhood amendment was put up in Mississippi? It was defeated in Mississippi that, life begins at conception. And as a lawyer, the implications, not only sort of criminal law, but contract law, inheritance law, tort law, would be horrendous if you ever pass that. And so you take a state as conservative as Mississippi, and they defeated that amendment.
Yeah,
and yet
personhood.
This is the kind of thing that is leading his agenda. Given the push to cut back on voting rights, get people off the rolls. They've sort of given up, I think, on many Latinos, a lot of women, so they've got to solidify their base. And maybe the thinking is, if we cut enough people off the rolls, get our base really excited, and swing voters, even some Democrats who are a bit disillusioned with Obama, maybe they won't turn out. That must be the guiding philosophy. Or,
as you say, those that cut turnout not be able to vote because of some of these situations. When you look at the Latino vote that is critical in this election, Margie, when you deal with the fact that right now the Wall Street Journal Telemundo poll shows that among Latino registered voters, Obama leads Governor Romney by 44 points. When you look at Mr. Ryan's position on the DREAM Act and other situations, clearly he's not going to help turn that around, in my opinion. So do you think that Mr. Romney just wrote that vote off?
Yeah, I think maybe he's making the political calculation that by alienating Latinos, he'll bring him some support in the base. I mean, that's one of the issues where Romney really staked out a position during the Republican primary on immigration, pivoting far to the right from the rest of the field. And it seemed like it was going to be very difficult to come back from that. He's been running way behind where John McCain was, and certainly where former President Bush was among Latinos. And now you have more Latinos voting. So it really puts the Romney camp in a real disadvantage, and Paul Ryan, makes that even worse.
Catherine Cryer and Margie Omero, thank you both for your time tonight.
You bet.
Thank you.
The jury's still out on whether